Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the CCN On Point with Thanksgiving. I wanted to take this opportunity to clarify for those that join us this evening what Thanksgiving is, what the intent of Thanksgiving is. Where did it come from? Why are we celebrating it? And so I was looking it up on Google, see what Google said. And so first I'm going to let each of you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves. And then I'm going to share with you what I found on Google. John, tell us who you are.
Okay, I'm a good friend of Wanda Carter. That's who I am. I'm the owner of the Bronzeville Community Clubhouse. I'm a community activist. I'm a pastor of the community. I am a father, a recent divorcee, and that's pretty much who I am. I consider myself a lover of God and a lover of his people.
All right. Woo, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, Miss Levette. Oh, Limo, excuse me. Would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Levette. I'm Levette Haynes. I'm a journalist of culture and arts with Chicago Communicator News Media. I'm also executive director of Westside Cultural Arts Council, chair of the Garfield Park Advisory Council Restoration Garfield Park Committee, grandmother of 6, great-grandmother of 1, mother of 3, and glad to be on the show.
I love it. Well, I know both of you, and you both know me. And
well, who are you?
I'm about to tell you. I'm about to tell you. I'm Wanda Carter, and publisher of the Chicago Communicator newspaper. I guess I could say that I'm the editor-in-chief. I produced the Omnibus Roundtable television show, which broadcasts on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m., Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. on the CAN TV network. Been doing that production since 1999. I'm an X-ray tech by trade that ended up being the chief tech for about 12 years and closing as the director of radiology when I retired. And so I've been doing video all my adult life, but for the last 22 years as a television producer. So that's who I am. And so, as I said earlier, we were going to talk about Thanksgiving. I don't know. I think the last time that I spoke to my daughter, the elder daughter, who is a Hebrew Israelite, she was telling me that they don't celebrate their birthday, they don't celebrate Christmas, they don't celebrate Easter, they don't celebrate these days because they said they don't celebrate pagan holidays. So I was like, what is a pagan holiday? So that's basically what started me on my quest to figure out what Thanksgiving was all about, and whether I should even be considering that's a day I should celebrate. Because let me show you the screen that I ended up looking at when I first. I'm gonna show you that I looked up Thanksgiving, and so according to Britannica, where was it? I found Britannica. There we go. They say, and that's you're supposed to use sources that are considered to be reliable, and Britannica is a reliable source. So that's why I'm using this as a reference. Thanksgiving is an annual national holiday in the United States and Canada that celebrates the blessings of the past year. And that sounds all right to me. That don't sound like it's prejudiced or biased.
Does Columbus have anything to do with it?
Then they go on to say the colonists, whoever they were, in New England and Canada regularly observed Thanksgiving's Day of prayers for such blessings as safe journeys, military victories, or abundant harvests. Americans modeled their holiday on a 1621st harvest feast shared between the Wamanobas, I guess that's how you say that, people, and the English colonists known as pilgrims. The Canadians traced their earliest Thanksgiving celebration to 1578 when an expedition led the Martin Fulbruster, I think, gave thanks for its safe passage. So in other words, the pilgrims and the colonists, they started this process in appreciation for whatever it was they were trying to do and being able to accomplish that.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Okay. People are not even calling this Thanksgiving. A lot of people.
Really?
Yeah. You might have seen the word Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving? Okay.
Friendsgiving. That's a terminology that's being used. And when you talk about the pilgrims and the fact that that the Indians shared their because they didn't have a culture. When they came, they learned the culture of the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And their plight was to be the dominant factor. So when you talk about a group of people that gave Indians blankets with smallpox on it, and took their children and put them in concentration camps. And they did a lot that was very derogatory. And so, we as Black people, we have just taken on the culture of this land. And that's why we do Kwanzaa, because it was a practice pretty much like the Pilgrims did. They took on the culture of the Indians with the harvest and celebrating the, things like that. But with Black people, some people don't even like the history of Kwanzaa because Kunjufu, who they say was a womanizer, he abused women. We had a conversation about it last night with my family, and some of the younger people had heard some negative things about Kwanzaa, and I said this to them: this man went to Africa and learned about traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that he created these traditions. He just went over there and learned about them and brought this knowledge back to America in a way that it became an event. And the event practiced all of the things that were already taking place in Africa. So we embraced Kwanzaa because it was a culture that continued to exist in Africa. And we embraced it because we had no culture of our own. And so everything that we've done has been someone else's culture. Even Christmas.
Even Christmas.
When we talk about where Kris Kringle came from, and the fact that Kris Kringle lured little children under the tree and ate them. And so this was an English tradition. But this is how I would like to just summarize it. I think that whatever people call, whatever they call it, if it's if the intent is to be joyous, to be thankful, to be grateful, to be blessed, to be one with your family, because people are going to call it different things now. And just like Columbus Day, there's an Indigenous Day. I think that even starts on Friday. So we have to embrace what is good and not be so hung up on, names or whatever, but, just rise above what is being called and practice that which elevates us to a more positive being in the world.
See there, John, you hear this woman?
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with her. And
I love her.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We have the power to do that. You got free will, in other words, and so it's not really a totally bad idea. Yeah, the origin and the meaning of it initially is different, but in order to sort of for us as a people who, as she said, didn't originate with any of these traditions, it's not a bad idea to look at it from that perspective. Yeah,
I agree. I'm in total agreement. Levette, I think it was Tanya that told me. Tanya's my daughter. John told me that they didn't celebrate Christmas, their birthdays, Easter, all that stuff as Hebrew Israelites because those days are considered to be pagan holidays.
Well, you know what? I beg to differ on that because if we did not acknowledge, it's not so much about celebration, but if we didn't acknowledge our existence, the time we came, the year we came, then Numbers, the book of Numbers would be irrelevant. So the book of Numbers, it records who was here. And so, before they embraced that, when a baby is born, then they might as well say, well, we're not going to celebrate this baby coming into the world. Mm-hmm. Because, and so every year it's just a recognition of how blessed we are to be in the world. And so we don't have, again, people have a right to do and practice and, anything they want is don't rain on somebody else's parade because they're doing it.
Right. So I just wanted to look it up to see what that word meant because I was confused. I was like, that's your birth. I mean, you wouldn't celebrate your birthday?
Well, Jehovah's Witnesses don't either.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Now, do they call it something different though?
I don't think so. Like, they don't celebrate. They don't, do funerals or anything like that.
What do you mean they don't do funerals? What happens when their loved ones die? What do they do?
I don't know exactly their practice, but that's something that's sort of standard because I have a few Jehovah's Witnesses in my family. And I think that my dad was a special man because they did show up. So let's sort of dispel that, but they loved my father. And so we were surprised to see them. I was like, oh my goodness, they're here. But I think that we're elevating in the world. We're making discoveries every day about different things. And, to me, religion, your faith, your beliefs, it's no argument. Mm-hmm. Because who's to say who's right? And, the only thing is like when like there's a division in the family and no one can come to a conclusion to be in peace, then I resort to prayer, and I've seen it work. So sometimes, you may not know that something is so until you do it. And I have been times where I was like, Lord, please come and just take the demon spirits away from these people so we can get back on the right track. And look, I've had my daughter call me back and say, you know what? That prayer you did, it worked, because we just started loving each other. And so, and then as Black people who really were taking away so much of our DNA, you cannot separate from your DNA. And so I was thinking today, right, how we have generational trauma. And
Yes.
so that is embedded within our spirit, the things that we've gone through. That's why our children are in derision. You've got something that's not been settled. You've got trauma on top of trauma.
Yep.
Trauma from our past and our ancestors' pain, and then trauma that we're still experiencing. So until we get to a point of healing and positive elevation, and I think that's how we make a difference in the world, is that we really push that narrative with our younger people.
Yeah.
And I agree with that as well. Yeah, I mean, truly, because it's the young people who have a chance to digest it, and they haven't necessarily been polluted or influenced in a way as we have.
Yeah.
I would be even, I guess I would venture to say that, for us also at a time, I wouldn't know, but I would think, based on what I do know, that part of us celebrating these so-called pagan holidays and every doggone thing else too was a meaning of survival.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you didn't play along, your butt didn't play at all. Right. So you had to kind of pick up on these things, and come on, we did some shuffling and jiving, right? Yeah, have a good time. Looking at each other, what the hell are we doing?
Sucking and driving.
But right, but it was a means of survival too, and yet it was embedded in us because that's all we knew.
Yeah,
we didn't have much of a choice.
Right, that's true. Mm-hmm. Well, so you're right. I think the elevation that we've achieved thus far, Libet, has enabled us to, like you say, we got to look past what the commercialism about the day has to say, and deal with, why are we happy? Why are we grateful? Why are we joyous? And it's because of our families. It's because of our friends. It's because of all that. So
it's because we survived.
We have to survive. Just like
exactly.
Like you said, yeah, it is. And so you're right. It's a mechanism we developed to survive, and it has become our methodology for sharing.
Right, and that's why Black culture is so important, because some people, they don't want to say they're Black. They don't want to say they're Negro. Of course, we stopped using that a while ago. They don't want to say they're African American. They don't want to say they're mixed. They don't want to say a lot of things, right? So that puts us in a perplexed kind of position, because who are we? And so
what's that name you gave us?
I was just about to say, John, I came up with this, because I'm a recording artist as well. And I came up with this song called I Am an Abo. And I thought about how I had a vision of a bunch of us being in a room together. And we asked that question: what are you, African American? What are you, Indigenous? What are you, Black? What are you, original? So I Am an Abo is Indigenous, Aboriginal, melanated, African American Black original. I am an Abu. So that's all of us. That's whatever you say, you gonna fit in this. I am an Abu.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And so then there's no denial because the melon is what bonds us. And so in each of those, you have melon. And and that is the divide that is amongst Black people. And and Black as a sense of something that we created. It is not so much as you Black and you Black, but it was an experience that we named, and that was a Black experience because we had to create from scratch everything. And so this unit, people say, well, I'm not Black. Well, it was a Black experience. James Brown, I'm Black and I'm proud. And that was to say, that was to give us an identity, as a unit, as one unit. And we are still the most powerful unit in the world because that group of people that were carved out, that's one unit. But what they had to do was create a fake ethnicity called
an illusion.
They had to create what the Latinos, and the Latino is a mix of Venezuelan, Mexican, Cuban, Guatemalan. And so now you say that this group of people is the majority, but yet we're still one unit, one people. You got the Caucasian. Their group consists of German, Polish, Russian, Czechoslovakian. So now you got all of this mix that says they're the majority over us because we're just 13% of the nation, but yet that's one unit undivided. So we've got to push the narrative that we are the power force, but they divide us because they make us fractionated when they throw things at us that divide us. And so we wind up not voting the same. We wind up not wanting to live around each other. Our children's schools become closed, and it's like we become the target because to identify and to acknowledge your oneness, that is what the world does not want to see. Because once that happens, we then take control of our destiny.
Come on now.
And rightful place in the world, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we got a lot of praying to do. I'm fortunate to be working with young people that, sort of no nonsense, in their 20s, in their 20s, 30s. And sometimes, it's not that I'm intentionally trying to shape them, but in my presence, I get a chance to share. And sharing is caring. And, I get a chance to tell stories, things that happen in the community that they might not be aware of, and, get a chance to relate to their youngness without them looking at me as a barrier, and without the divide. And so as long as you're relevant and you stay aware of their position in life, because sometimes I can be dominant, but then I sort of step back because you don't want to lose them. You don't want them to think that what they're thinking is not valued. And
Exactly.
so like if I see mistakes or something, then I have to sort of gingerly get that across without it coming across as, oh, you just want it your way. And I'm, and that's hard. It's just like your child. They're telling you, hey, I want it cooked like this. And you're like, huh? Like, wait a minute. You don't eat
That's
it the
not
way
that's not the
do
way
it.
I cook it.
Right. But I learned that early on with my children. They're, 44, 45, 46 now. But when they were 1, 2, and 3, and when I saw them cringe at baby food, I tasted it and I was like, I can't give y'all this. If I don't like it, what don't make? And so they never had a problem eating anything, because I was concerned and caring about how they appreciated, food. And so you got to be considerate of, and that's why they still want me to cook. But I'm like, that's over.
You stuck. You
It's
stuck
over.
now. You stuck.
Now they cook now, so that's a good thing. But you know, and that's what it's all about. Hey, it's all about peace, love, and John, that's another program that Wanda and I work with Westside Cultural Arts Council. Is called The Plan, and the plan is peace, love, art, and nature. And that's how the young people have to come into the things that we do. We don't have to say, well, you got to do this, that, or the other. Well, you're working with the plan. So you know what the plan means, then it's self-explanatory, because most of the young people that I work with are artists. So some of them are performing artists, literary artists. And when we do things that are family oriented, then they have to choose accordingly. And if the topic is peace, love, art, and nature, how can you cuss about that? It's really difficult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna talk about peace. F peace. I don't think that works. It doesn't work. And so it makes it easy for them to go and
That's crazy.
the right thing in their repertoire. And so,
Okay.
but anyway, I'll be quiet.
Welcome to the show, Brian. How are you?
Very good. How are you all?
All right. All right. Brian is our young photographer. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Brian.
I've been doing photography for years, and I've also
How many years?
23.
Hey, tell us more. Tell us more.
And I've been doing writing, and I've been writing for at least 10 years.
Okay.
And that's about it. That's about it at the moment. Just trying to figure out how to elevate and go higher. Just believe God to be able to go higher.
All right. Okay. So we are talking about Thanksgiving and what, how did we get where we at in reference to the celebration of Thanksgiving?
The research on it now, but
okay.
But I will say this, that Thanksgiving is a day to give thanks. It's a day to reflect on all that you have to be thankful for, and you shouldn't just do that on one day. You should do that every day.
Come on, that's what I want to hear. That's
I
right.
agree with that. I agree with